That is good. It says that I am. All right. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to just act like I'm live because if I'm not, then that's okay too. But I think that it is. Um, anyway, I just wanted to come live to you tonight and to just, talk about accountability. I'm Shauna Partlow and I'm a teen relationship coach and I help parents, all right, connect with their teen so that you can talk about all issues. So tonight the issue is accountability. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because um, I was having a discussion about it, accountability. And I heard someone say, we expect our pastors to be accountable, but we don't have that same standard for ourselves or for our teenager. So, I'm definitely, about parents and the teenagers. So when I heard them say that, I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? I think that's very true, but you can let me know in the chat if you feel that that's true, that we really truly hold pastoring to a higher standard, which of course we should. Okay, but no matter where we are, even as parents, uh, whatever it is at your job, you're a teacher, whatever it is, especially if you're working with children, then you should be holding yourself to a higher standard, period. Okay, and when I'm talking about accountability, do you have accountability? Even, okay, mom, dad, do you have accountability? Do you have a standard of that? And do you have accountability for your teenager? Because we should. We as parents, okay, should have accountability too. Not just our teenager, or not even that nobody has any accountability, that everybody just kind of do whatever they want. Hey, if that's what you want to do, and that's what you feel best, and you feel like that's what is right for you, then hey, I'm all for that. Okay. I need to tell you, no, that should definitely not be how we parent. And here's the thing too, you should want to, like if you want your teen to have accountability, you should have accountability too. It's not just a one-way street to where sometimes it's like, you know, we want someone to have it, but hey, don't you think I have to have it? Don't you try to tell me what to do, because that's not what accountability is. It's not telling someone what to do. Okay. And sometimes I think that we don't want to hold our team to a higher standard. We don't want to have any accountability for them, because then they're going to maybe come back and say, well, what about you? Well, how come you get to do those things? Well, how come you don't have a standard? How come you're holding me to something completely different that you don't even hold for yourself? So sometimes that's one reason why we're like, accountability, what are you talking about? Everybody's fine. Nobody needs accountability. That's almost like a bad word, isn't it? So nobody wants to have it. You don't want to be talking to your teen about it. And you definitely don't want your teen to be talking to you about it. So, okay, whether or not you do, whether or not you don't. Well, here's the deal. We're going to talk about that. Okay. So when I asked you earlier, do you have accountability for yourself? All right. Yeah, that's something I want you to think about. You can let me know. Okay. And do you have accountability for your teen? If your teen is in sports, okay. So this is a good way that if your teen's in sports, they're generally accountable to their coach and coaches, because most of the time there's more than just one coach. So their accountability to their coach, uh, they have accountability to their teachers. They have accountability to the team, right? Okay. So then if they are not doing well in school and their grades aren't where they're supposed to be, then they generally don't get to play. If, sometimes then they have to serve detention because of where they are in their schooling, okay, and what they've done or didn't do. If they didn't pass a drug test, right, then they definitely, generally don't get to play, do they? And I got to tell you, there should be a whole lot more accountability at home if they didn't pass a drug test. And yeah, even the same for their grades, right? They definitely need to have some accountability in there. And it's not just like, oh, hey, you're fine, whatever. It's okay. It doesn't even matter. Um, there definitely should be accountability there. Okay. And what is it going to be when you have your teenager and maybe they're not doing their schoolwork, they're not doing what they should be, and maybe they got busted for doing drugs? What is the accountability on your part? All right. sometimes, you know what, you got to get your teen into some serious help. All right. And that's okay. All right. Don't feel that you're a bad parent because maybe your teen needs to have some professional help. That does not mean you're a bad parent. The fact is that you get the help that they need. Guess what? You need to chalk that up for one for you. All right. Because sometimes that's just what needs to happen. And you're doing your part and you're definitely getting them the help that they need. So, that's okay too. Um, I remember when my daughter was young, okay, and she actually was in kindergarten, and I remember when she was had gone. I was at my mom's house. We were at my mom's house, and she had gone to the neighbors, of course, with their fun chalk, and she wrote the F word. All right, and it wasn't fun on their sidewalk, of course, in big letters. And she was so, of course, probably happy she got to, knew how to spell that. And the little sister comes and to tell me that, oh my gosh, that she wrote the F word on the sidewalk. So I, to hold her accountable, even at 5, I had her. We walked over to the neighbors to their house, knocked on their door, and I had her tell them what she did. Of course, she was, mortified. Oh my gosh, didn't want to tell them. She was so scared. Uh, and then I made her go clean it off with some water. I mean, it didn't really take much, but, I made a big deal about it, because she doesn't need to be writing bad words, especially at the neighbor's house. So I made a big deal about it. But, to this day, she still remembers that accountability and what took place and what she had to do. She can be very descriptive on what it was that she had to do because of something that she did. So, you might be laughing a little bit inside and you might, think it's kind of funny because, hey, it kind of was funny in the sense of like, oh my gosh, well, first of all, she knows the F word. She's 5 years old and she knows the F word. What are you talking about? So, that was, of course, the thing that I was like, oh my God, my baby, my sweet little baby, she's 5, she knows the F word. Oh my golly. So I was, you're kind of sad about that. And then the neighbor was, trying to be straight faced too and thinking it was kind of funny. But you know what? They stayed with it too. It's like, okay, it's not a big deal. But I was like, hey, yeah, it is. You know what? It is a big deal because they're trying to be nice about it. But the point is, she had accountability. And she had a lot of accountability because as she got older, she had a lot of accountability. But it doesn't, when you're holding your teen accountable, okay, it does not mean that they're just going to be like, just this perfect teenager, and then they're never going to do things that they shouldn't do ever again. Because sometimes your teenager is going to test you and test you and test you and test you and push you on how far you're going to keep that accountability going, okay? Because sometimes it's a challenge for them and they're up for the challenge. All right. Some teens way more than others. And then some are like, wow, that's all it took. That was it. Nothing else. And they're like, wow, okay, I'm never doing that again. I learned my lesson. So, man, they mean business and I'm gonna comply because I don't want to be that person. But then, there's different teenagers and you, mom, dad, you have to stay with it. You have to stay in the game. You have to stay persistent and you have to stay strong, okay, with holding your teen accountable and giving them the consequences. And not to the point to where like, helicopter parenting, okay, that's a video, right, that I have in there and you could search through my little videos and then click that and check that video out too. But being accountable, definitely, mom, dad, you need to think about that too, okay, for yourself. Who do you have that could hold you accountable if there's things that if you're totally struggling with something, okay? And then the same for your teen. How can even you hold your teen accountable, okay? So one way that you can hold your teen accountable is first of all asking them some tough questions, okay? And just questions, period. And I know sometimes just a question period is tough, isn't it? To your teen, it's just like, so how's your day? Fine. Right? Isn't that their expression? Like absolutely nothing, and they're just like, stop being in my business. Like, wow, just ask how you're doing. Sorry, golly, relax. I am relaxed. So leave me alone. I'm just like, gosh, okay, sorry. You're the one that wants to cry, and they're just like, fine, so-called anyway. Yeah. So, but when your teen is doing stuff, things that they shouldn't be doing, And especially, I got to tell you this, okay? Especially when it comes to the phone, okay? The Pornhub right here. I have to tell you, there are so many teenagers addicted to pornography, all right? Even adults. So this isn't just a teen thing, an epidemic in teenagers. This is an epidemic, period. But your teen, yeah, is probably, you might be shocked and surprised on how many teenagers are actually addicted. And I'm not just talking about a boy, okay? And when I'm saying a boy, I'm talking a young boy. I'm not talking just your teenager. I'm talking children, all right, that can be 7, 8 years old that see pornography on the cell phone, okay, that you give them. And if they're on that at even 6 years old, the chances are very, very high that they have definitely clicked on, logged on, watched something, especially on YouTube. Hey, I know this is streaming to YouTube right now, but that doesn't mean that that pornography is, like, oh, well, we know that they're 7 years old and we are not going to show them that. They doesn't know that. It just knows the click. Okay. And even though it might say, you have to be older, it might have these restrictions, but hey, I got to tell you, your 7-year-old is very good at finding ways around. And especially when it becomes an addiction, okay, the phone itself is an addiction, isn't it? So no matter what they're, they are addicted to, first of all, the first addiction is the phone. The second addiction is what's on the phone, all right? And then that they continue to see it, whether it's social media, whether it's specific apps, whether it's specific people, it doesn't matter. Those are all different types of addictions, okay? So it's not just, oh, just the one, but all these different addictions pile up onto them and they need some accountability, all right? But if you don't have accountability, they don't have accountability, nobody in the family has accountability, yeah, you're all going to be addicted to a whole lot of different things. And then nobody talks about anything. Everything's okay. You want to sweep everything under the rug and act like nothing's happening because, we're all just one happy family sitting in the living room like this, scrolling, looking, laughing amongst yourself, right? Having a good time, you and your phone. Man, you're having a great time. And you take this to your bedroom. They take this to their bedroom. And everybody is addicted with no accountability. So that's just something, I really want you to think about that. I really want you to think about for yourself, okay? How much accountability do you have? You can hold each other accountable. Hey, I just want you to know, you know what? I was really thinking about this. I saw this video. And first of all, if you're really getting any value out of this, you can hit like too, okay? Just want to say that. And you can subscribe. And then you can say to your team, all right, I watched this video and, they were talking about accountability. And then I thought, wow, you know what? Wow, that's true. Wow, that does sound like me. And maybe we can kind of hold each other accountable on how much time we spend on our phones, and then do it. Okay. And it might be hard because it will be. Okay. But then you do that together and then you become accountable together. All right. Hey, mom, how much time are you on your phone? Dad, you know what? Hey, I see you with your phone right now. What are you looking at? And it doesn't mean that you join in, okay, and look at some things together because there's some things you should not be looking at together. All right. I remember this guy. I mean, he was a teenager, and he said that he started looking at porn when he was 7 years old because of his uncle. His uncle gave him this. This was back then, magazines. Now it's on their phone, right? That they carry with them. So he was a teenager and extended. He was addicted since 7 years old. So it's still today. It's still very strong. It's still definitely in your face. And that's when you had to go buy the magazine. And now it's very readily accessible. So if you want accountability, join that with your teenager and make it fun. Okay. Don't make this like a chore. Don't make it like, oh my gosh, now we got to be accountable. Oh yeah, that's real fun, isn't it? So that's one way, okay, that you and your teen can become accountable together. And especially maybe on certain apps, the big one for teenagers today is of course TikTok. Actually, that's parents too. There's just as many parents probably on TikTok as your teenager. And Instagram, I'd say not as many teenagers are on. They are on it, but not compared to. Of course, now I can't think of the app or the But you know what? I'm sure you know because I can't think of it suddenly right now. But that's okay because you know what I'm talking about. Um, so then become accountable, okay? Think of some fun ways, think of things to do, and let's not be on that as much. I won't be on this as much and you don't be on that as much. And then we start coming together and then you start doing other things together, okay? And it's going to probably be like, wow, all right, now what do we do? How long has it been? What, 3 seconds? Oh, okay. Because the brain is so addicted to picking up the phone and wanting to know just what it's doing. Oopsies. What's happening here? Okay. So, anyway, um, again, if you're getting any value out of this, go ahead and hit like, okay, and subscribe because there's definitely a lot more videos and there's definitely other videos for you to check out on my channel here, okay? And also with this accountability, all right, it is important to have this. And sometimes that's why sometimes teenagers won't even do sports because they don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to be so-called told what to do, all right? And that's why there's a lot of arguing within the family sometimes when you finally do decide to say something because they're so used to not having anybody say anything to them, all right? And again, that's not just the teenager, that's a lot of times the adult too. But when our teens are brought up with no accountability, no conversation, basically from right or wrong, and you can do whatever you want, they become adults that way because, well, what are you talking about? I never, I didn't have to do those things. I didn't have to answer to anyone. But you have to teach them it's not answering to, it's not me being all up in your business, okay? Because first of all, your teenager, okay, is your business, all right? And it doesn't mean everything that they're a constantly, there's another video that I have in here about being a controlling parent, okay? And I know it's kind of the same like the helicopter parent, but there's some differences in there too, okay? So just kind of scroll through some of my videos there and you're going to find some that you're going to like. But with this accountability, if you don't teach your teen to be accountable, they're not going to be, okay? It's especially in this day and age, like I said, it's easier, way easier not to be because that's what I want to do. That's how I feel. And I'm okay. I don't need you to tell me that. But then it becomes a pride thing because, yeah, we do. Okay. It's okay to be accountable. If you're married, you're accountable to your spouse, aren't you? If you're in a dating relationship, you're accountable to that person you're dating. If you have a job, then you're accountable to your boss. If you are the boss, then you're accountable to your employees. So there's accountability all of the time, okay? And that's something that you need to teach your teenager, all right? That you may not feel that you need to be accountable, but those are things that, yeah, buddy, yeah, you do need to be accountable. And just the same for us, you need to be accountable. But it's just because they don't understand that word, okay? And that's why you are the parent. And that's why they have parents. Hey, okay? And then you are to teach them what that means. You're to show them what that means. And showing them is you guys doing things together. Um, and then making it fun and then making it something that, wow, okay, now I understand what you're talking about. Because you can even go to your teenager and ask them, do you know what, I'd like us to be accountable to each other. Do you know what that means? And see what their response is, okay? I'm not saying they're not going to know, but they may not know. So ask them if they know what accountability means, because then that opens up a conversation for you to even be with your team. What do you think accountability means? So how about what do you think about us doing something, to hold each other accountable in whatever the area? I would say especially the phone area, okay? And then you start developing and getting your relationship, either reconnected or starting to connect, all right? Because that is what so many parents tell me is I wish I could connect to my teen. I don't know how to connect to my teen. Well, I got to tell you, putting the phone down is probably step number one, all right? And then you joining together, holding each other accountable and getting plugged into the world and life truly of your teenager, okay? That's going to be huge. That's going to make, definitely a huge difference. All right. Because that's what you want. And I know that's what you want. And so does your teen. I need to tell you, so does your teen. All right. Your teen may be spending all of their time in their bedroom. That is unhealthy. And that's not really what they want to do. They do because they don't know how to connect even to you. All right. And you will hear me say this time and time and time again. It is not the job of your teenager to connect with you. Okay. It absolutely is not. That is your job, mom. That is your job, dad, to connect with your teenager. Okay. It's not their job. All right. And the same thing with this accountability stuff. It is your job to teach them how to be accountable. It is your job to show them accountability. It is your job, mom, dad, to be that person in their life. Okay. And again, if you need to get them professional help, then hey, then do, because that's okay too. All right. So I want to say thank you for watching. And I want to say definitely there's going to be more videos. Okay. And then definitely, you know, just know that your teen needs you, okay? Stay strong in there and know that your teen definitely wants the relationship with you too, all right? So this is not just you wanting a relationship with your teen. This is definitely both of you together wanting this. So again, I want to say thank you. Thanks for watching. And um, I'm going to turn this off now, I think. Oh, wait. This is always the fun part. All right. Okay. Did it? I think okay. I never know how to turn this off. Okay. Is it no? Oh, wait. I think this right here. Okay.